certainly something going to happen in 2027, and I don't know what it is. Some people say it's a pole reversal. Some people say it's an asteroid hitting the planet. Some people say it's AI. I have no idea. Everybody's telling me we're on borrowed time, and they are all constrained by their national security oaths. They want the public to know this.
I think I have an idea of what's coming. It's actually not what's coming, but rather it's a matter of who. Because for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, that can read the writing on the wall, can feel it in their bones, that the Lord is about to return. Now, of course, nobody knows the exact day or hour that the Lord is going to return, but we can have an idea of this season. We can read the writing on the wall, understanding the times that we are in prophetically. Now, with that being said, I found it interesting with what Ross Coulthart had to say on this podcast right here, the UFO program, and how he was talking about speaking with individuals who are in the know, and they are warning of something coming in the year 2027. For those who are wondering who Ross is, he's an Australian investigative journalist and an author who has also worked in public relations. He believes that the governments are covering up knowledge of UFOs and alien visitations. Now, what I find interesting about this is how the year 2027 seems to pop up quite a bit. As we can see right here from this article, an interview with the Herald of the Apocalypse. For those wondering what in the world is a herald, it is just a messenger. So pretty much the messenger of the apocalypse. And in this interview hosted by Roth Dothat, well, isn't that interesting that they're both named Ross? He interviews Daniel Coco Tahio, which is the messenger of the apocalypse, who is an artificial intelligence researcher. He was a researcher in the governance division of OpenAI from 2022 to 2024, and he currently leads the AI Futures Project, which is this project right here, AI 2027. There's that year. In this interview transcript, we can see Ross open up with this right here. How fast is the artificial intelligence revolution really happening? What would machine superintelligence really mean for ordinary human beings? When will Skynet be fully operational? Are human beings destined to merge with some kind of machine god or be destroyed by our own creation? What do AI researchers really expect, desire, and fear? He goes on to introduce his guest, which is AI researcher who's written a dramatic forecast suggesting that we may get answers to all those questions a lot sooner than you might think. He goes on to say that his forecast suggests that by 2027, which is just around the corner, some kind of machine god may be with us. Yeah, that's going to be the Antichrist, ushering in the apocalypse, the end times beast system, pretty much. Then later in this interview, we go on to see Daniel talk about how he feels like he should add a disclaimer at some point that the future is very hard to predict and that this is just one particular scenario. It was a best guess, but we have a lot of uncertainty. It could go faster, it could go slower. And in fact, currently I'm guessing it would probably be more like 2028 instead of 2027, actually. Sounds like you're getting cold feet, Daniel. He then goes on to talk about his AI 2027 scenario, which predicts that AI systems that we currently see today, which are being scaled up, made bigger, and trained longer on more difficult tasks with reinforcement learning, are going to become better at operating autonomously as agents. Basically, you can think of it as a remote worker, except that the worker itself is virtual. It's an AI rather than a human. You can talk with it, give it a task, and then it will go off and do that task and come back to you half an hour later or 10 minutes later, having completed the task. And in the course of completing the task, it did a bunch of web browsing. Well, isn't that lovely? And of course, we had this news coming out a couple weeks ago, which did not talk about a specific year, but that an OpenAI co founder wanted a doomsday bunker in case artificial general intelligence caused the rapture. Oh Lord, please tell me it's so. This whole news was about OpenAI's former chief scientist talking about artificial general intelligence and how he sounded like a guy bracing for a judgment day he was helping to usher in. Judgment day, you don't say. Or we can see in this article, in one surreal 2023 meeting, he casually declared, "We're definitely going to build a bunker before we release AGI." And when a researcher asked if he was serious, he doubled down, but tried to smooth over how bonkers he sounded by suggesting the entry into the bunker would, of course, be optional. I, for one, am going to pass on that option, and I'll take the rapture option. He goes on to talk about how not everyone needs to enter the vault, but if he wants to survive, nuclear apocalypse and the super mutants that follow, it's suggested that you enter and never leave. Then we go on to see how there is a group of people who believe that building AGI will bring about a rapture. Where we then can see that his apocalyptic conviction that AGI could end life as we know it, unless it was in the right hands, at least partially influenced his decision to join the coup against Sam Altman. As we all know by now, it failed. Now, it's not just individuals coming from OpenAI talking about the year 2027. We also have this news right here how Anthropic chief says AI could surpass almost all humans at almost everything shortly after 2027. And on top of that, we have news articles like this, which are just lovely. AI predicts global blackout in the year 2027. And then, of course, they are pushing articles like this in the news how a book discovered in Vatican predicts the end of the world in 2027. And the little cherry on top is that we have this apparently where Nostradamus predicted that the world would end in 2027 with Pope Bob. How fitting. Now, of course, this is all speculation. The journalist from Australia did not have exact information on what was going to happen in the year 2027. He was just hearing from individuals that apparently that is going to be a big year. A lot of different theories of a pole shift, solar flare, earthquakes, the long list of doomsday events. But we as believers in Jesus Christ do know that judgment is coming. With that all being said, I know that it creates a lot of anxiety and fear, so I wanted to remind you guys of Matthew chapter 6. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. No amount of worry and stress is going to change the facts of what is coming in the future. But we as believers just need to continue to focus upon the Lord and resting in Him. And with this information, able to discern what's going on, to read the writing on the wall, it should cause urgency to draw closer to the Lord and to really work on your relationships down here right now. So I encourage you guys out there, if you have any bitterness or unforgiveness in your heart towards anybody else in your life, try to work that out right now. Forgive them, love them, share the gospel. If there is somebody in your life or that you know that you have just been waiting to give the gospel, the time is now. Use this information about what is going on in the world as urgency to get the gospel out, to love on others, and to work on your relationships. And also to work on your relationship with the Lord, resting with Him, understanding your identity, that you are a child of God, born again of an immortal, incorruptible seed, resting in His goodness and going forth, allowing the fruit of the Spirit to come forth. So, with that being said, guys, whatever's going to happen, we are all going to find out together. But we all, as believers in Jesus Christ, continue to look up, realizing that our redemption is drawing near. And how good is that truth, my beloved brothers and sisters? God bless, and remember, the just shall live by faith.